Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another Wine of the Week. Today, Dan Frey, Domain Select, is joining us again. They really introduced us to some really cool, hip things, if I haven't said it before. One thing that I think has kind of gotten lost in our culture as a whole, and everyone's kind of afraid to drink Riesling. It's like this bad word around the dinner table, or the amateur orders Riesling because they don't know any better, or they can't drink sweet wines. I'm really kind of tired of it. I love Rieslings. There's such amazing Rieslings out there that it's just mind-blowing. You'll see the Riesling light. This is completely unique. I have not seen anything like this in our market here. It is a sparkling Riesling that Dan is going to tell us all about.
Great. Well, first of all, I just want to say about Riesling. Riesling is the wine geek's white wine. Everyone who's a sommelier, everyone who's just a wine geek, at some point, if you're a great wine lover, you're going to reach Riesling as your peak of white wine. Almost everybody who I talk to around the world who is really into white wines has Riesling, bone-dried, minerally, very well-made Rieslings as their top 1, 2, or 3 wine in the world. I actually did, when I was in wine school, I did my thesis paper arguing that Riesling was proof of the existence of God, because it is so incredibly unique among wines, and everything that had to come together for this wine to exist: the climate, the soil, the attitude of the hills, how steep the hills are, and mainly these wide flat rivers in Germany that allow the sun to reflect up into the vineyards without adding heat. So the grapes essentially get twice as much sunlight with half as much heat. So it's a kind of an incredible, beautiful wine that I do think, I agree, is not seen as often as it should be.
Well, it's not giving the status that it should be. It's aggravating because it should. And there was I think a whole like 10, 12 years there that Riesling kind of was made very poorly, and a bunch of sugar was added to it, and it got this really bad stigmata. That it's unfortunate.
No, and I think there are half a dozen wines like that in the world that just a almost bastardized version of it came out and became popular and kind of killed the variety.
That's what everyone thought it was.
Or the grape. So it's a wine I think that we both hope that a lot of more people would give a chance. It's a terrific food wine, Riesling. It has components that a lot of other white wines don't have.
It pairs with almost anything.
Yeah.
I mean, something spicy, something salty, something sweet, a lot of different things. Rich,
amazing.
Desserts. You know, you get like that bright green apple and pear, and it's just like, man,
well, you get beautiful fruits. You get sometimes some earthy flavors. But the thing that Riesling has that a lot of other white wines don't have to the same degree is minerality. You get this beautiful minerality flavor. And you'd be surprised hearing that, what a cool flavor that is to discover in a wine. So the wine we're having today is from Jakob Kuhn, who is one of the premier makers of Riesling. He is a high-end Riesling producer. He treats his Riesling vineyards in a way, I think, the way Burgundy winemakers treat their vineyards. He uses kind of a Grand Cru system for naming and classifying his wines. He is this year the elected head of what's called the Riesling Consortium. So all the Riesling winemakers get together and elect essentially someone to be their leader for the year, and it's him right now. But one of the things about Riesling that is you rarely ever hear about outside of Germany and Austria, outside of sort of the center of Riesling winemaking, and along with Alsace, is that all the winemakers, either for themselves, for their family, and for their staff, or maybe a little production for the public, make a sparkling Riesling. It's something they love.
They just don't let it out.
Yeah, there isn't really...
They keep it for themselves. That's not cool.
That's exactly right.
That's not tight. Come on, share the Riesling. Share the Riesling.
But there has never been like a market for it or a market developed for it. But again, it's one of the cool things that when you go visit a great Riesling producer, a great vineyard for making Riesling, they'll always have a little sparkling Riesling, tucked back in the closet. Instead of a label, it'll be written in chalk, sparkling Riesling, because they don't really produce it and release it. One of the the things that I've excited about in working with Dante and working with Phil is that wines like this take off. Sometimes you get wines that you're loving, but they're not well known. This is the place that they can come to life. So
one of the things about drinking this, it's kind of like I could drink this in a sense of like on a hot summer day after you mow the lawn, you want to slam that beer.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing that instead of like a beer. You could drink this in that same kind of aspect or regard of that quenching, fresh, the bubbles. It's just like, wow, it's refreshing.
It's bright.
That's the word.
It's
I mean,
lively. It is. It's bright and lively and refreshing and very fresh. And it's extremely well made. I mean, this is one of the winemakers who really knows the Riesling grape.
Method Champenois.
Method Champenois. It's made in the Champagne method, very carefully, handmade, and just an exciting wine. It can go with all kinds of different food. We were just having some calamari here at Dante that I think it would be beautiful with because it would cut through the rich sauce and the breading a little bit.
The acidity. It's great.
Amazing versatility with food. So give it a chance. I think as far as I know in the entire Midwest, the one restaurant that you can get it at is Dante. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.